There we go. Reboot the audio interface and we have a microphone. Alright, speakers down, speakers down. Let me get this mic wired up. What source are you that is troubling me so right now? Cam link back. We shouldn't need that. We shouldn't need that. Alright, let me get a laptop to monitor this and move this glass of iced tea before we absolutely pour it on something. What is going on out there in the world today? Michael, Chris, good evening. We're setting it up slowly. That blasted AC is loud, man, I apologize. I can turn it off if it's super distracting. No. I'm going to do a test real quick. I want to see what this does to my audio. See what this does to my audio. Oh, that's not bad. See what this does to my audio. Oh, that's not. I think that's workable. Does that cut the AC? Hey, Coco, how are you doing? Coco Moose, what do you? It's got to be. What time is it there? What are you doing here? It's late. Are you working on school? Or what are you doing up this late? My goodness, good to see you, brother. I haven't seen you in a long time. A long time. Oh, Jaden, I skipping people? Oh my, this is horrible. All right, let's get this thing. I put it off to the side. Let's see if we can transport it without dropping it all over the place. I'm always great. Always great. Any day that I'm alive is a great day. I'm going to try and run this filter, and it's not so much noise suppression as it is, how do I want to say it? It's a filter that subtracts a certain frequency or set of frequencies from the audio. If it becomes annoying, let me know and I'll turn it off. But I'm going to test run it with a lav mic. I can run it on our good mics if that's seeable, but we're going to try and test run it on lav mics and see if it'll cut out the frequency of that blasted in-room air conditioner. Alright. Look at this mess. It literally got piled up so I wouldn't touch it. And this was a I'm in no big hurry job, so we're not going to be in a big hurry on this one. We have two things to do, this one and one other, and we can actually pick which one, this or the other. This is my least favorite type of thing to do, but somebody's got to do something with it because it's not workable the way it is. That's what I'm missing. I'm missing my overhead chat. Let me fire that up. Don't even make me sign in. Just load the chat. Well, Michael, I think I said that, but if I missed it, I apologize. Oh, hey, while you're here, Michael, do you like geometric shapes, like squares, cubes? If you can answer that, that'll help me out. I have a super cool design. It's on my iPad, and I need to transfer it to the computer to clean it up a little. Thanks, Coco. I appreciate you stopping by. It's been a long, long time. We've got some details to work out too. So for the scavenger hunt thing, I need help with that. So check back. Send me an email, Coco. All right, where were we? We had busted stuff that we needed to fix. Are we doing this one? What do we want to do? This one or the other one? Golly, what does that to a computer? Is that soda? Or alcohol? Like, not alcohol, but like booze, funny, haha. Tipsy alcohol. And this stuff ate right through the case and everything. And this isn't plastic and it isn't metal, it's some type of composite. And that just... I'd hate to think what that was. Anyhow. Are we doing this, or are we doing the other? We'll do this quick. We'll get this together quick and then move on to this other. This other job's interesting. I can't wait. I have to call the person. And if what my secretary told me is true, it's going to be interesting. But I'm not going to reveal anything with that for right now. Alright, so we have a thing broke loose there. That was the one on the other side of the fan. We're going to turn up the... Wow, there's alcohol or soda or whatever the hell that is on the Wi-Fi too. We're going to take the Dodgy level and turn it up to max. And get this thing put back together. That clamps down, that stops it going back, and there isn't much in the way of support other than that screw, and we have room. Alright, we're going to build a wall there around our DC jack with epoxy, 5-minute set, couple hour cure epoxy. Let me get this out here. Make it nice and straight so everybody can see it perfect. We're going to build that up. We're going to build a wall around our DC jack with epoxy. And I have a plan for chopping that down and putting a replacement in place. So let's do that first. It's going to be a multi-part process. We need a straight blade. And this is just to get this stupid thing we took apart back together. Just to put it back together. We have another obstacle in our way as well that's going to not prevent but inhibit, just hinder us a little bit, and that's the battery catch, the battery release for that one support that's broke loose by the fan. But we got to do it, so let's do it. Man, that is so close. I wonder if we can do it without chopping it off. Let me grab our parts. A little smaller. So here's the idea. We're going to take a screw hole off of this thing, if we find one that's appropriate. And this should be, yep, that's our size. So we need to extract one screw hole, and then we're going to mount it on the other one. But we have to get the right size, so we're going to chop this off higher than we need it. Hopefully. Or more correctly, we're going to snap it off higher than we need it. Alright, done. Now we move on to our thickness. We have to mock this back together. Just to get a rough idea for thickness, we need we're not going all out crazy. I'm just going for this back together, functional for this guy. Just a quick recap on anything, if anybody didn't catch Friday. This is not a, how do I want to say it? Not their main device, they have other stuff. This is like a secondary use. So, what we need is the distance from there, where our little brass screw hole mounts into the plastic. So we can chop this one to the right size and help mount it there, or mount it in there. We're only missing a little plastic, so it isn't going to be high. We need to get a thickness on it, so we're going to use, I don't know if this is Play-Doh or magic foam or something. going to get a rough depth on what we need. Hopefully without making too much of a mess. Alright, so we have our stuff there. We're going to snap this temporary together to get a thickness. And then glue a screw hole in place. Get out of the way. Alright, so that worked. As long as we don't smash it, we'll be good to go. So we need to put about, it's going to be hard to see, my battery's dying, 3.6, I'm going to say 3.4 to be safe, millimeters. And we'll go 3.5 mil, which ain't going to be much. We can basically almost epoxy. Yeah, so we're going to be able to chop that off of there, literally straight under the brass. And then that needs glued on. We have the other one, but we have this one that's already mounted in plastic, so we'll try and cut that off of there without ruining it. That's not going to work. There's that. It's going to be next to impossible with that loose. So a clamp, vise. How are we going to cut this? Or cut a new one at the right height? Alright, so we have this cut off roughly where we need it. Now we got to attach it. I'm just cutting all these extra pins off. They're not going to line up. If anything, they'll cause us a whole bunch of nuisance in the way of that wanting to sit. And we do want it to sit. Is it important structurally? Probably not. Is it, it's just the one that sits right here on the bottom case. So, mounts there. You may get a little rattle from the fan, or not the fan. It does help hold the hinge, but that's what you get when you use cheap composite plastic and metal with not enough support. Alright, let's work on that. We need to mix up some stuff. We need to put a barrier here so our battery release doesn't get caught up in anything that we're gluing in place. Good there. Get that ready, and DC jack area ready, prepped, ready to go, and we can epoxy both these at the same time and save ourselves some time. And the idea is not to glue the DC jack in. I mean, that would be the easy way, just hot glue it in place, and you could use heat to pull it out later. But when I build up a little box around it. So, you know, this little support that we glued on that's going to do absolutely nothing. Yeah. So that was just sitting up in empty space. We've got a support under it as well as... Wow. Wow, wow, wow. No, I'm not missing anything. We didn't pull a spacer out of there. Okay, so we've got to build up under it as well as a little wall behind it. It's going to be no fun. So this stuff, I don't know if anybody's ever seen it. I don't even know the name for it. It's not pick foam. You can't pick it out. It's just super dense foam. We're going to try this before we put epoxy close to a DC jack and make it absolutely impossible to pull said DC jack out. So I'm going to try this to see if a spacer that fits around it more, and then we use some toffee tape also to help hold it in place. See if that can solve our problem of our ultra weak DC jack not wanting to stay where it was screwed down with one little thin piece of plastic. And if that doesn't seem like it's going to stay in one place, then we'll get the tough stuff out. Hey, Uber. Yeah, JB, yeah, this is the ultimate do-yourself, ultimate DIY Dodgy repair workshop. We got some 5-minute set, a couple hour cure epoxy if we need it. We got to put a screw hole back in place. It's a secondary device for people, and they're in no hurry for it, so. The original problem was it wasn't connecting when he plugged the DC jack in. You might have been here for that part. I don't even know where I set it at this point. Is it under every... Oh, it's right in front of me. So... just that little arm, that little nub of plastic sticking out secures the force of plugging in the DC jack, or the AC adapter to the jack over and over and over. That's not enough, and there's no support in here for it to hold it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and put something under it, as well as behind it, and then toffee tape it in place. I think we'll get away with that. And with the other piece that clicks in, we might be able to put another piece there and actually wedge it into place, rather than gluing a DC jack in place, which I don't want to do, but I have done. But yeah, we turned the Dodgy level all the way up on this one. Okay, so that piece that we cut out, it's not a perfect fit, but it is going to support it from behind a little. And it should, if I'm looking at this correctly, it's going to be compressed by this top bit on that corner. And that does already have its own foam there, a little bit. So let's get the toffee tape ready and start routing all this stuff. I really don't want to cut that out, but we will. We will to make it work. That lets our wire go under. And room for the DC jack on top. Supports it. And more importantly, it's going to stay in place, at least a little bit. We do need to take a little thickness down, so let's work on that. Alright, perfect. Not even close, but it's going to work. Alright, and holding that there without much compression, just a tad. DC jack lines up if we can make this camera focus on that. I don't want to drop the motherboard, so I'm going to move that out of, move that back up here. So, slight amount of compression, which the bottom case should do whenever it comes in. We'll press that into place. And it'll actually be sandwiched between something with support behind, and like I said, we're going to throw a piece of double-sided toffee tape or stretch release tape in there somehow to also help hold it from wanting to be forced back in. One problem sort of solved, we have to go for. Two, we need epoxy for that one. Fucking angle is that? What's going on out there in internet land tonight anyways? What's the news? What's the word? Tell me secrets, people. With any hope we don't leak this epoxy and have it run into our battery catch. We've got to remember to put the spring back on also. Let's mix some up and work on putting this screw hole in place. This is where it gets super smelly. What's happening? Rich, how are you, sir? We turned up the Dodgy meter today. It's all the way up. Sketchy as we can be. But we should be able to put this laptop back together without pieces of it falling apart. How's your PS4 running, by the way? Fans at max? Heating your place up? Making it feel like a tropical paradise in there? The rope hunt. The rope hunt is always going good, man. Well, bad, I guess. There's no rope on sale today. I check every day. Oh. Alright, we let it sit for not very long because I believe, what is this? Did I read it right when I bought it? Set time 5 minutes, cures in 1 hour, dries clear. I'll believe that when I see it. You think 5 minutes is an ultra long time? No. Let's throw some light on this. Get a little closer to what we're working on. I understand it's off a little bit, but roughly the screw hole where we need it to be. However, we'll see if it actually is going to hold it. Getting stuff on the other side of it, where the paper is like some kind of barrier is essential. And how do I know? I glued one of these battery catches in place one time, and the bottom cases for these, well, then they were expensive because it was a newer model laptop. But thankfully, I didn't have to care or give too much of a crap because it was secondhand and I owned it. And I'm pretty sure that battery catch is still glued in place to this day, unless somebody broke it free. Alright, this stuff needs to start setting and get off of the screw. Once it starts setting, we can pile it up. Get in there, man. Get out of the way. My guess is less hardener came out than actual resin, so it's going to take a little longer than 5 minutes to start setting up. And to try and make sure we're not getting any stickier battery catch still moves. We'll check that again in a few. Perfect. Never been so quiet. I thought you wanted that PS4 with the AC noise. It's not a bug, that's a feature. Or not, that's a improvement when they get loud like that. You save money on buying an air conditioner to make that noise. Yeah, we're definitely going on. I'm not clock watching, but I'm certainly positive that we're going on well more than 5 minutes, or maybe close. Who knows? I just need this where it'll start stacking up, and we can push it up against that. Well, it was a portable screw hole. Now it's I guess it's going to be a fixed one. Not as cool of a design as Sony's, though. The portable one that is always portable unless it's in place. Another cool thing, I don't know if anybody messes with this, but I'll say it anyways. Just be careful not to glue your fingers in place. Is if you ever mess with cyanoacrylate or CA glue, basically super glue, this crap or any other brand, if you don't want to deal with the drying time, get some kicker or accelerator. This stuff's pretty crazy, but one word of caution: do not do not have super glue on your hands and then miss that accelerator also on your fingers. And then miss that stuff onto whatever you're working on. If the hand that you're holding your project together has any glue on it, or you wind up with a chemical burn. That stuff gets stupid hot super quick when it dries, that CA glue. Alright, let's see. Is our stuff piling up yet? Or is it thinning out? Alright, we're starting to get a little thicker, a little chunky. That's good. That's what we want. We want it under there. And it to pile up around it. Instead of ruining those, we're going to get one of these ridiculous blue things they send you with every type of repair kit. What are we looking at? Can't go toward the fan. We need to leave a little room there for that chip. And that. Everything comes that way. Anything toward the jack, we need room for that chip. So we can put a little more here. We need to get it off of there though. That's not a good plan. Let's check our battery catch. So far so good. We're going to leave it there to hold that paper in place. And hopefully not let that crap run in under. If it does, not too far. We need to let that set. In the meantime, we need to grab the screw hole and take that screw out because it did get epoxy on it. Let's see if we can do this with any type of, not mess it up. Leave him there. Alright, it's all about waiting. You can't rush this stuff. Whew! Horrible. Horrible to have to do this to a computer, but I don't think we need anything else. I know our hinges are loose, but I'm not going to touch those. They're not loose, they're just the plastic supports. They're not compromised. We just have this little cheap tin in the area, so we're going to leave it as a is what it is thing. and put it back together. I think that's all we can really do with that. Just put them back. We got this in the screw hole curing up. That'll go in that area, and hopefully everything fits and fits nice. Once it cures a little more, I'm going to scrape some of that out of there. There is this chip that is going to lay basically right in that area. Right here. Be where that chip kind of gets sandwiched in. There will be some room, but not much. And we don't want any bumps of epoxy pressing up against something if we need not be. It's just going to create pressure on it, and that's that chip's actually for the network card, so we don't want that messed up in case they have to use that somewhere along the lines instead of the Wi-Fi. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright, what can we put back together in the meantime? We're waiting on this to set more. We're going to hold up on the screw. We have that, the hard drive. And I need to call this guy because he was talking about something else, or doing something else with it. We can get the stretch release tape put in place here as well underneath, and then over top. And it'll come apart way easier than hot glue. And hopefully not as easy, or way easier than our epoxy. Wow, this thing is built super cheap. The ratio on these things, and this is what bugs me, this is why I try and steer people away from buying big box store items like this. It seems like when you end up with proper coaling, with a proper method of coaling instead of just like an aluminum heat plate with some black spray paint on certain parts of it. When you get the proper coaling and the 2 sticks of RAM, and they still offer a cheap price, it seems like it almost always, the corners they cut are structural. I just can't see throwing money away on something like that. But people do repeatedly. Alright, stretch release. Let's go. Here's the end we're looking for. Alright. Semi-secure stretch, however the hell you say it, stretch release tape in place, going in place. We didn't leave a pull tab, but that's alright. If somebody needs in here, they can rip this out and figure it back out. We're not designing computers, we're just putting this one back together for as cheap as possible. Alright, that's going to go in there. We need to flip this up, assemble this piece, and we can get the hard drive out of the toaster and then start some more final assembly on it. Guess you can't really see what's going on here right now. We're just plugging in a ribbon cable. Okay. We don't have any arrow indicators on this one, do we? I believe there was one screw here, and the other stuff, we had one that was stuck there from the screw hole that was broken. It was stuck in that spot, the busted screw hole, and then we had a screw going through there, and that should be a structural one coming through from the bottom case along with this one. And that would not be, so we need a screw in that as well. How deep is that? Oh, geez. I gotta separate these screws. There's a spring. What is that chiming? 507. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 7. How many went through the inside? Under the keyboard. We need to count. 2, 3, 4, 5. So only 5. There's 5. Hard drive. So, I think here's an appropriate time to talk about this one. Yep, I still have sound, okay. If you find you're working on a device that you're not familiar with, something you don't do all the time, and you've torn it apart and you're coming back to it days later, or weeks, or months, some stuff happens that long, and it's not something that you work on all the time. You have to start sorting out. Damn, where do these screws go? One thing that's always helped me remembering where everything goes and getting it right without having to accidentally run a long screw up through the palm rest of somebody's computer or anything like that, where you're putting too long of screws in and damaging stuff, then is process of eliminations. Just start eliminating what screws you know go where. Like, you know, if you've ever taken out a 2.5-inch drive, you know what size and thread screws go in there. We know there's 3 or 4, I haven't looked yet, screws that will go in under the optical drive, and they were very, very, very small screws. Let's look. 3 or 4. Perfect. Get out of there. Magnets are awesome. Sometimes. 1, 2, and 3. So we have those 3. Those will be 3 small silver ones because they did kind of blend in. So we know where our optical drive screws are. Let's count them. 1, 2. Should be those 3 there. So we know those go to the optical drive. And out of all that pile of screws, it was confusing. I'm going to see if I can zoom the camera out to show you. the only thing we have left to sort out we know that's a through size screw, so I have those up there. That's our old screw hole. We're not going to need it, but we possibly need the screw. We have 2 more of those. 2 tiny screws, one of which is for the Wi-Fi, and then I believe the one that holds the Wi-Fi tie-down plate or whatever we put back in place. So then that leaves us 1 screw for a motherboard screw, and then I believe that goes external. And that leaves us 1 screw to figure out where it goes. So yeah, process of elimination. Figure out what you know where it goes. Sort it if you're coming back days or months later. And we only have 1, I believe 1 screw holding this motherboard in. How we'll check that. We're going to flip this over like we're going to put it on, and we can see we have screw hole roughly here. And 1 roughly here. Let's see if there's anything there. There is. There. And also 1 in the middle that's slightly downset from the 2 on the sides. Right there. The only other places for screws would be, and we didn't pull anything out of there. There's none of those on this model. Let's check back as our battery catch is still free. Let's see how everything's setting up. So it's starting to get very, very tacky. We don't want to take the paper out yet, because although it's still tacky, gravity is still a thing on flat Earth, with Flat Earth Santa and everything. So we don't know how it works, but it's a thing. It is on the round Earth too, of course. It'll spread that epoxy out, so it needs to get a bit beyond tacky, a little bit more beyond that. And we also have to figure out these speakers. We kind of just dropped them out of the place the other day. Or dropped them out of it. There's these little rubber insets that go in, and kind of you plug that in, and that's where it goes. Looks good. Let's get another set of tweezers and start doing some cabling. It's not the right set for this job. Where are they? Those the ones that fell and I never picked them up? I wonder. Alright, fair enough. That's in. Let's put these back. We need a little plastic piece. Screwdriver. kind of curious if we can clean that off. So this is whatever liquid substance made its way into the computer. It didn't eat its way through a paper or paper foil type label, but it did eat its way through a plastic metal composite of the bottom case. Imagine that. Chemistry is freaking nuts, and how different stuff reacts. And we got some on the back. Not important, but it's a mess. We'll clean it up while we're there. Okay. Moving right along. Wi-Fi card is in place. Let's do these little stupid antennas. If they make these connections much smaller, it's going to be microscope level of putting them on for me. The older Wi-Fi cards, not a problem. These ones, bit of a nuisance going on sometimes. We have the hard drive that was held down, so that's where our one or two final screws may go, is with our hard drive. Let's grab that. And as you can see, they do have the 4 tie-down points, but with this particular model, it was easier to just have, or cheaper, to just have 3. Well, they had 4 holes drilled, 1 alignment, and 2 to screw down, and another alignment one. Skipping out on 1, but you know, what's 1 screw? I guess a couple cents. Yeah, you're right. People probably wouldn't want to pay for that. So go ahead and put these in. They indeed are the ones for the hard drive. So we have one final little screw that we need to find out about. There. That's covered. DC jack, that's right. That little, tiny, pathetic plastic arm for the DC jack. That's where that one would go. And I doubt it's going to hold it. Seriously doubt it's probably going to snap right back off. What do we do here? Don't break. It's in, not tight, but in. Hopefully it doesn't spring loose while we're working on the rest of this. Count our screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 1 there, and that big round one in the back. So let's say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the round one. We need to replace the one that we got epoxy on. And there were a few missing as well too when we pulled this apart, that's right. So we can replace those as we get into this. We still have to wait on that epoxy to finish setting up. We're going to reclaim this 1 screw that we potentially need. And if we have to, we'll set this junk aside and get on to the next job. See about getting that paper all the way out of there now. You can see when we slide it where epoxy did soak into the paper. This stuff, let me see, is still stretchy and tacky, so we're going to leave it set just for a little bit, and then we'll yank that out of there. I don't know if moving cold air would help it, but we'll set it over out of the way. Keep assembling what we can. About the only place on this computer that we had confirmation of, hey, the screw goes here, is the one triangle on our hinges. So we actually have two on this side, and then one comes through from the bottom case, one on this side, and two come through. One comes through from the top, one comes through from the bottom. So one screw here, two here, which is going to be two of our long ones. The one has epoxy that we need to replace, so let's replace that now. Not quite as long. Let's try and find one that's a better match. If we have to go internal in the bucket, we will, but hopefully we can get it from outside. Let's see, that looks close. If I drop it, yeah, it's a couple millimeter off. What do you know? Alright. Can't match it from what's just stashed on the lid. Go into our stash for this one. Alright, so that's what we pulled. Let's grab an original and see. We're good on length, and we have the same type head, just slightly different color coding. Alright, call that a win. Let's pull one more of them out. I think we were short one. And while we're here, we don't have to go back through this process. There's two. Alright. Hello, Luke. I'm just looking at the chat every couple minutes. Sorry I had to disappear. He's back! Oh my goodness. It's good to have you back. I didn't know you disappeared. How's it going, Luke? How are you? We were just on a hunt for some screws, so we're going to go ahead. We're rebuilding what we can on this clunker, this big box store computer that, yeah, upsetting, man, the way they design these for failure. And not to replace it, it's to, hey, buy another one, sadly. Cut freaking corners. Okay. Can we do anything else internally? No, until we get that blasted bottom. Alright, so we gotta let this set up. More so, is it still stretching? It is, it won't snap free. It's we need to set up a little more, so we'll clear this crap out of here and go on to the next one. I have to call somebody, so I may need to mute for a moment. But let me, I have to get the story on this next device that we're looking at, and I got to clean up those screws so we don't lose any. And hopefully, we can solve the rest of that before ending. We have a spring, those screws, all that. And that one that got epoxy on it. Just put it on some paper. I think that's about all we're getting out of that, unless we stand there and fight it. Put those there for later use. Make sure we're capped. We are indeed, and it goes back on the wall. Oh, gravity's still a thing. Let's hope it stays up there. Alright, let's take one moment, clean up a couple tools that we won't be needing. Epoxy, Play-Doh, and stealing screw holes from other old dead laptops are not items that you commonly use every day. So, not recommended, but if you have to just repair something, planning to upload a Reddit video. You mean a video on Reddit? Or you have a Reddit video that you're uploading to YouTube? Good question. Anyhow, yeah. None of these repairs are common things that we do. I hope this isn't a common thing. But it's super dodgy. It will get a device back together and functional. Let me get this epoxy glove off, grab another one out of the box. There's just a box over there. It provides free gloves. Alright, we gotta wait a minute and not cool my hand off. Alright, don't Where you go? Who are you? You can go over here. Bye. What the fuck is that? And look at that. A big box special. Can't wait. We'll keep that handy in case we need the info on that ticket. That handmade ticket. Alright, we have the clipboard, we got the work order. Let's take a look. Okay. I realize it's bright. Sorry about that if you're in the dark watching a screen. The fan gets loud and gets hot. Now the other part is not written on here. To stop the loud fan, I was told by my secretary lady, helper, that she hits, not the secretary, the owner hits this computer to quiet down the fan. It's normally loud fan, you would think heat sink or something of the sort, new thermal paste, and that could well be the case, but hitting it to get the fan to go quiet could point to another problem. So we got some ideas. Let's take a look. Commentary video on a subreddit. I'll be reacting to images posted on. What do the initials stand for? What did you write there? Was the new palm rest too much? It's the computer I was working on with the epoxy and other stuff. Not too much, but it's like a secondary device. They mainly use their tablets, and this one's just kind of the one we were working on with the epoxy and the foam and the stretch release tape was they just store pictures on there and rarely use it. Didn't want to put anything into it. It's like I'll solve your power connection issues, and in the process of it coming apart, there was other stuff that screw hole was broken. And I just wanted to put the screw hole back in place on that other one. So if anybody else has to open it up, they'll be able to unscrew it and it'll come apart like a normal computer. Yeah, fan bearings is what I'm thinking. That could be doing it. Dust. There's something in there. Not dust, but debris. Public blue screens of death. Sounds serious. What's a blue screen of death? No, don't answer that, I'm kidding. Oh, it's one of those guys. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Is it? Most of the adhesive is left behind. Don't know if it's going to be reusable. We'll stretch it out here just in case. If not, we got some more. And how many did they put across the front? Did they put them all the way through? Or just on the, I think it's just on the ends. I don't want to stretch that whole thing out of sorts. We didn't find one up to here, so it's going to be each end in the middle. Let's go. Oh yeah, that's right, I have to call this person. I forgot. Let me do that so I can hear what's going on. There's the clipboard. Nope. No, no, no. We're not talking to the box. Come on now. That's crazy. Yeah. Blue screens. It's funny. You guys, you have to have them. The stupid self-checkout lanes in like grocery stores or markets or whatever. I'm sure some stores overseas have this self-checkout lanes. We got them here, and those things are always down and crashing. And it's crazy that you go in and you see them boot one up, and they're literally running Windows XP, and then they're running some checkout app over top of that. They're absolute garbage. If I'm not mistaken, there's still maybe 2 banks in our area that are using possibly Windows 98. And one of them was, and I think the other one upgraded to something newer. But they're paying for support as a banking corporation for their old banking software, and that's insane. Those Windows versions were dead long, long time ago. Hey there, come here. Thank you. We gotta check on... do we? Yeah, we gotta check under that. Alright, safe on this one. No screws, just a bunch of latches that are likely to snap when we go through there. Let's see what else. Keyboard built in. Watch out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on a minute here. Does anybody see that? That's beside what? The power symbol. Are we sleeping, or are we plugged in and just yanked from the wall and brought in? Okay, it's now off. Hitting the power button didn't wake it. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering myself. The first thing I'm going to do, Jaden, is when I get this open, is throw the hard drive in the toaster and just check to see if it functions. My secretary is not a person to just make crazy stuff up. Did I misjudge something? That feels super tight here. I don't want to loosen this, but we will. Nope, they got two more. Just past where I didn't pull. One more. One more, two more, one. So, unevenly spaced. Here, here, there, and there. Nice. Good job, HP. Awesome work. Okay, so that's why it's not coming apart. Or no, I lied. That isn't one. So just dead center. Looked like one. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. Awesome, 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 awesome. Yeah, my main concern is, does the hard drive work? What was that power light doing? And typical. Before I even pried anywhere it is broken in that area, and I just broke it further. Thin pieces, man. The thin pieces on these are unreal. We did save all 4 latches. So that's a good thing. Now we just have to extract this off the back and reattach that snapped piece. This whole thing is basically dying. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's see, is it my collar? It is. Okay, so the fan would get loud, you would hit it, and what else? Okay, the back, like toward the screen? Like the back. Okay, the bottom side would get hot. Okay, can you describe the noise, like what it sounded like? It just like a fan blowing loud, right? All right. Right. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out for you. But yeah, try to refrain from hitting it in the future. That can the shock, the impact, the shock over time can certainly hurt the hard drive that you have in it. You don't have a solid state drive. Right. Oh my goodness, confirmation. Yeah, we're smacking this thing. Let's pull the battery. It's a solid connection, okay. This thing is full of dog hair, what I am now learning. We need the light. As you can see, it just, anywhere there's a static substance, or a static potential for static, we can just pick up hair. And the cats are gonna love me when I get home. And I think I traded on, got a pet. New dog. Alright, so hitting confirmed. Just 3 individual cells there put together to make one. So 3 cell, 11.4 volt. Fucking A. Just hit it. Just hit it. That'll quiet her down. What are we looking at here? What's the score? There we go. Alright. Kind of better, not better. Will you fit in the toaster without? You will. Perfect. I'll have to remove it. We're going to boot this thing up quick. It's been off. Let it do its deal, then we'll confirm the hard drive working, not working. Fuck, man. Oh, nice. You can upgrade this model with a keyboard backlight. This one don't have it, but it's upgradable. And what model is that? What model are we talking about? Screams everybody. We'll see here. Let's take a look. So this is a 15-DA 1047NR. Yes. Alright, let me start a download. Did the other one finish? Indeed it did. Alright, let's get number 2. Yes, 156. Go! Give him a little drive. And what do we mean? Battery. But we can plug in our power here. How many screws? We got 2 screws. And 2. I'm going to put wrong screws. I'm going to put these into the hinges before we go. Not that it's going to help a dang thing, but a little more support. We're going to open this up. Let's get some power, and we'll try and run this thing. We're gonna boot. We'll just boot into a live OS for the time being. Check on the status of the hard drive. Alright, so the fan does spin. Actually, here. We'll do the fan work test that we always do. Does the fan work? Let's find out. Fan works. F9, boot device order, possibly. Oh, you're connected with a ribbon, good. We don't have any picture coming up whatsoever yet. That's not a good sign. Ah, there we go. CMOS checksum is invalid, yes, because we pulled the battery. And to reboot the system, it's not going to be valid. This thing is becoming a nuisance real quick. Did you not boot? We have to do special boot options just to get this thing. I don't know if it's going to work with secure boot enabled on this thing. We may need to. So the fan's not spinning up like crazy yet. It's not getting overly hot. We're not doing nothing as well. So we're going to enable legacy support, which will disable our secure boot. And I think we can get out of here after that. Exit saving changes. We have to remember to change that back or the computer is not going to load up if the hard drive is any good. Think of anything. It doesn't sound, I want to turn it upright. It doesn't sound like the fan bearings are going bad. So. We want to tear this off eventually. That fan picks right back up and it's spinning with ease. You stop it dead. We're going to kick back up. That was dead and hold it. Yeah. We're going to flip this thing over. Let me find something to set it on for the time being. Other than the bottom case. I know we're leaving a bit much air in. Doesn't matter though, it'll work. Perfect. We got what we need to set this thing down. Non-conductive one, just want it in the position it normally sets when the fan starts making noise. That's kind of what we're going for here. Just make sure it stays running by keeping that cord plugged in. And see if the fan, when upright, starts getting loud. It's not going to ramp up to hot. Probably not with the bottom cover on. Can we feed this out? Let's try an interesting. We don't need that, it should power it regardless. Alright, that did take down my chat, but let's re-enable it. Alright, so here's what we are looking at currently. That's what we're booted on the laptop we're on. We can see we're basically sitting idle. Nothing going on. We will take and connect to the network. Quick while we're here. Did it not type? Of course it didn't. That right there, ready to go. Never used it before. We're ready to go. So we'll turn our sound down. This guy here is live. Let's watch him. I'm double muted. And while that's running, we will make it littler and we can watch our specs. I don't think we're really going to heat this up. We're barely using the CPU. We can start using some RAM. It's not going to be in live, is it? No. We're not installing a bunch of crap. I don't hear a fan getting louder in the least. So we're going to repaste it. I mean, potentially, let's shut it down. We can boot back up with the bottom on. Get it more confined. We'll throw the optical drive in, see what's going on with it. But for right now, we'll shut this down. I want to tear it apart quick here, and we got to flip my KVM back over. Is that me? Tell me it's me. It is. Disable it right now. Let's see what's going on with our fan. See if it's clogged up in there with anything. Yes. So we are just about fully clogged on that heatsink. So if we ran it long enough and ran a little bit heavier of an operating system like Windows doing some stuff, that fan would have gotten louder. The hitting part, I don't know what that would do for it. I'm still curious about the hard drive. Let's get check on that quick. Okay, so far so good. The hard drive mounts, just from the sheer nature of the impact to it to quiet the fan down. We're gonna do a backup on this thing, just because we don't know what's on it. We don't know if there's valuable stuff or not while we have it in the toaster and powered on. We're gonna take and mount the drive and do a quick backup. What was the last name again? I don't remember these things. So we'll send it to that folder with the date next. And backup's on the way. Yeah, we're fully clogged up on this poor guy. We're going to tear that off and repaste it. I'm not trying to recreate the issue. We can kind of see what... That's only part of it. So that whole side of the fan is blocked. And then we still have a bunch on our heat spreader here. And let's check the factory paste application, which is generally garbage on big box store model computers. I mean, on most computers it's garbage application. I don't know what they use, but it's not. Not bad. There were some gaps in it. It's a little bit, might have went on a little watery, who knows, or a little unmixed. Little separated. Oh yeah, yes. Here's the other part of our heatsink. So, can we focus with it that close? We can. Yeah, there's the other part of the heatsink. So, just about half of it, it's blocked. So we had that much that was unblocked, right in the middle. That would definitely heat this thing up, and the fan would be going loud. Between the combination of the both, we should be good. What is this mess that's coming in? Oh my gosh. Alright, we gotta open this one up, man. I don't normally share stuff on here, but look at this nutball kid. Is my phone unlocking in gloves? Come on, today. We'll wait for it. Or it can wait on us. We'll get back to that. Let's go ahead and clean this out and get this thing put back together, get windows on it. So we're just going to basically brush it off. We'll take it and hit it with the airline. Hey, Belle. Yeah, there's something going on there. And that's even got some thickness to it, too. Look at that. That's good. Keep that up. We can make a whole new carpet. I'm sorry, my friend. We have to relocate you. The owner does not want you where you chose to live. We'll give you a home there temporarily. You gotta be gone by the morning though, alright? Alright, airline time. And away it goes. It's not perfect, however. We are cleaner. To be honest, that's a bad design fin stack, but we're talking laptops here, not desktops. We got a lot out of this. One thing I want to make note of, if using compressed air coming out of a compressor on fans, do not spin it up as fast as your 60 or 90 or 120 psi compressor will blow the fan. You can overdo it, like heat up the bearing, and significantly degrade the life of it, because you're going to spin it much faster than it's spinning if you're running some serious air pressure through an airline for a compressor. So try to restrict it, hold it back, and blow the air through. Don't let it spin up to full, like, just free speed on those. Whatever it will blow. You may not kill it right then, but it could last longer than it's going to if you heat that up. Overwork the bearing. You see that? That kid is wearing a cone on his head. It's a good look, right? Alright, clean that. I don't think there's any reason for concern or a bad fan. That fan stopping it would pick right up. Running it either way when it was in here, whether in this orientation or its normal sitting orientation, it was good. The impacts have not, she's not hit it hard enough to bend the housing any, or flex the body to bend it. We're also going to take and hit the airline on the underside of the keyboard and through the top in that general area to try and clean that out any little bit, because it does pull air through the top of the keyboard, at least in that area. We'll take the airline to the keyboard, see if we can get any hair out. All this melted plastic. If this was an easy remove keyboard, I'd be happy to clean it, but we're not undoing all this melted plastic. Not a chance. Negative. Yeah, DB6s and DB7s I have. Well, I don't have many more. I had stacks of them. I still have a few back there surviving in the dead pile. And those things mostly ran hot by design. Like, they were from the factory. They were just running hot and killing themselves. Alright, we got that part. We'll clean it with some IPA here in a second. Give me the brush. So the brush is nothing special. If anybody has ever seen I'm trying to do it without getting much on the computer, this is just a nylon bristled paintbrush, cheap as you can get from the hardware store. It will knock some of the thermal paste off. I use it quite a bit for cleaning up thermal paste. You can see what it tends to do, as well as brush it loose. It will pick some up and it will build up into the bristles, and you got to clean it every once in a while. And then just snap the handle short, couple layers of heat shrink over it. It makes it usable for cleaning up dead, semi-dead globs of thermal paste, and the other paste will help stick some of it to it over time. We got thermal glove happening from cleaning that thing off like that, but yeah, I remember all the DB6s and DB7s that I've turned screws on. They were horrible computers. I even had, is that thing anywhere close to here? I had one come in earlier this year that I replaced it with a model slightly newer that I had laying around for a guy I know. His was just dead beyond all hope. So we need to undo this. That didn't go in there. And we have to take out this one. I believe this one. Data on the hard drive was only 5.42 gigabytes of data to be copied. We have 3.7 remaining. I wanted to wait till it stabilized a little and wasn't flashing by. Here's the thing too with chips. Grab another one. With processors specifically, and you see this a lot in laptops. I don't think I've seen it with desktop processors, mainly because they have the heat spreader built in over top of the dies. It's mainly mobile, and the few desktop boards that did take a mobile CPU while you're using a mobile. But whenever I'm going to try and get the glare off that. That there, you can just see it on the edge. Let's try and tilt this so it's not catching the glare. Whatever thermal paste is, I know they say you're supposed to cover the die and have it go down around it, but it seems, and I'll show you in a moment, it seems more often than not when you have thermal paste down over this, you get this where it heats up and does that around the edges of the chip. Let's see if we have some other mobile examples of thermal paste down over the edge and it just cooking the life out of the chip. I got a couple, I'm just grabbing two random ones out of there. Let's find out. We're going to look at this old relic. We can't even get the stuff off of that when it's so dead and dry. And what year is this thing from? Let's tell you. (2006) and 2004. Both mobile CPUs. And where thermal paste spread down over. It was kind of on the edges on this one, and that's just from me smearing it, but it was puddled down over this side. I don't know if it just transfers too much heat and is like re-baking the chip and the fiberglass of the PCB and everything that's in there, but I always see that burning effect, or I don't know exactly what it's called, when there's too much thermal paste application. But I could be wrong. That could not even be the cause for it. That's just what I've noticed. Alright, camera, don't fight me. Go backwards. That must not work. You have to use your left hand, not your right. Yeah, that's just two examples. I have a whole drawer full of CPUs out of laptops. Same thing happening on every one of them. They had way too much thermal paste on. But, again, uninformed. I haven't a clue. I say that it does have an effect. The black stuff? No, not underfill. It's not black. It actually has like it it's almost like when you cook something too long, you see it popcorn and then start flaking the surface up, because if you would dig at that, it would flake it up a little. Super easy. Pentium M and a Core Duo. You remember those compact towers with the mobile? Oh my God, the motherboards that ran those mobile chips were awful. And manufacturers even made a couple of them. They were horrible. Yeah, DV series, man, I remember those. They had like the best speed. Let's just no thermal paste. We'll just clamp this one down direct. Die to heat plate. And aluminum at that, man. Boy, that could be better designed. Huh? Guess not. Okay. Where's my magic juice? Yeah, we gotta get this up. It unmixed a little. We'll get rid of what's right at the end. Alright. Should be better. Let's try it. Oh yeah, much thicker. Perfect. I'm going to try and keep most of that on our actual dies. Understand it may creep down off a little, but it's not going to be puddled on there. So a bad fan it was not. Which I was really leaning that way. I don't know who said that in chat. Was it Lee that said that earlier about the bad fan bearing? I was highly considering leaning that way with it. Like, oh, that would make it loud. But no, it was just spinning up. I really wanted to try and dissect her thinking process on the phone, but I didn't want to leave too much of the conversation in live chat, at least my side of it, and I wasn't recording anybody, to be technical, other than myself. But how does hitting it, I don't get the how does hitting it, how do you get to that line of thought, I'm going to hit it to make it get quiet? CQ1000 with an AMD Vision chip. That's an old computer, man. Alright, we went counterclockwise in square formation. We gotta go back with the torque wrench. Click. Ready? 120 foot-pounds. Let me zoom this out some so we can see what we're working on. And click. 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 120 foot-pounds. Torque down. We're ready to go. Let's do it. Nothing even under that end. Awesome. Great job. Great design. I love it. So I think this will solve the problem. Getting the hard drive that mounts and data copied over, that's one thing. Booting will be another. Three and four. Still have another screw there. Ah, the hard drive. We gotta put the hard drive back. That's right. Almost forgot. It's done. 5.42 gigs. Backed out. So I guess an easy mistake on this model that you could make would be to try and force into the keyboard backlight. No. It's a different width, but a determined person could probably get that in there. We need to go under the Wi-Fi card. So let's, we got it out without. That's not enough up though, so we basically pulled it out. What fun. All the further we need to go to get our hard drive back in is there. Lift the latch. Man, that's at a very, I'm going to unplug this that's at a super odd angle. It is lining up. Okay. Call that good. Wi-Fi is clipped on, hard drive. Aligned. We need to look at our bottom. Is that through the body? That looks like that oddball spot, doesn't it? That is it. So we know there, and there. That's all through. So body screws hold our hard drive in. Nice to know. Core2 does with the same thing. They seem to work fine. They do work fine. I don't want to say that it's completely normal. But yeah, it could be. I'm certain those CPUs would work fine if I plugged them into something. It's just, why does it, what certain chips, why does it do it? I don't get that. And it seems to be more commonly the ones that have way too much thermal paste on, where it just, or if they run too hot, like run way too hot, it'll start doing that as well too. Like a few computers years ago that come in and somebody, like they brought it in and it was literally running in their briefcase, like why it didn't go to sleep, or they snapped it shut and it never made it to sleep because it infected who knows what. They just come in smoking hot. The CPUs that few times I've experienced that, of being in a confined bag while still running, look like that. I wouldn't say they ran fine afterwards. Those ones, the ones that were well overheated, upon trying to reinstall Windows, would constantly crash out. And the only thing, if I remember, I would have to look through paperwork. If I remember the jobs correctly, the only thing that solved them was a CPU swap. It was on a socketed mobile platform, as those are. Where the hell? Oh, battery. I'm forgetting where stuff goes. You're going to sit in there. That will look good there. In there. Let's add some screws to the picture. The rainbow effect on the die, yeah. If you see that, that's concerning. Definitely concerning if you see that rainbow effect. I would not count on that chip to be a daily driver. Not in the least. Not for long, anyhow. 1, 2, 3. We have one more to sort out. I have to remember where it goes. We put the one in the fan. We put those 4 in. What am I forgetting here? Impossible. No hole. Not possible. Never mind. I went. Did I grab it? I grabbed a screw that was shorter than the rest. That's where the extra one came from. I grabbed one that was shorter than the long ones I had to screw that board in to keep it from falling when I had it upright. Okay. Mystery solved. Extra screw not needed. We added that to the equation. I hate the plastic these things are made out of these days. Absolute garbage. Something doesn't seem right there, but we'll wait till we snap everything together to see if it lets it snap properly. So it looks like it's together, but it's not. There is a wider gap right there. And if I'm not mistaken, let me zoom out and look at this thing, okay? Push that up a little. I want to try and get a straight shot on that. Does that not look like it was like tried to rage quit over a knee? I'm trying to show the bend that I see. Is there a bend in that? Or it maybe not rage quit, but nope. Okay, I see what the problem is there. We got to peel it back off. And I can't tell on this side. It's not doing the same thing. So let's go for back off. I'm going to lift it, and because the screws aren't in, we're trying to hold it down, keep it compressed. Too cheap. I don't want it breaking. I'm not buying parts for this thing. Alright, away we go. Plastic. Pop loose. Oh, where are they? So that's right. This one was not. Heats up while gaming. Yeah. I hate old hardware, man. It's a nuisance and an annoyance. Especially in my area. I don't know how that applies across the board to people, but I can say. What were the Dell laptops, like the D630s? People were trying to use those years beyond their life around here. Like, well beyond their life. Like, no excuse for it. Like, we don't need to put Windows 10 on that. No, but sorry. Much better. Okay, so that was their one hold up. The screw was our other. Everything's back in order. Let's put this bottom case on and fire this thing up. See if we can heat it up. It's the extra. Or is it? Yes, extra. It's shorter. Alright, let's find out with everything clipped in place. We're going to run our 2 hinge screws through before we open this guy. Another thing I don't get is why are they making the hidden screws match the exposed ones? Click. click. 120 foot-pounds on them hinges. Alright, we are clipped and clicked, torqued. We bought a big box computer. I'm going to fix that crack, even though it's going together and you can't see it. And I think we have a slight crack starting. We do on this side. It's going to be impossible to see with the light. But there is a slight crack right there forming. We'll try and expose it there. So we're going to put some CA glue on that. Just a light little bit. And then also, I really don't even want to touch it because it's going together so nice. But I don't want it to snap out of there. Let's see what we can do without completely destroying it. I don't know if we can get any glue in that. Yeah, we can. Now we got to get it back without damage. CA glue. Don't be the stuff that kills everything. Or don't be made out of the stuff that dies from everything out there. Done. I'm not going to mess with the other one because it wasn't broke through. That will hold. It doesn't touch the body. We don't have to worry about it. But it will be held in place now. And if not, well, I guess we're buying a bottom case. Click, click, click. Click. Almost. What do we got here? Still using 2013 Lenovo ThinkPad Edge. That a Dell Latitude E6400. Oh, exclamation point. I'm like, I thought that was a 6400 I, and I'm like, I what? You know what laptop I really like that I never owned, that I wanted, and every time I see one I have to talk myself out of buying it, is the, oh, what the hell are they? Lenovo ThinkPad 13, X13. It's just like a little 13-inch laptop. And they had a Gen 1 and a Gen 2 to it. Is it 13, X13? I'll show you what they look like. Or more specifically, I'll tell you the model number. I think it was a ThinkPad 13. Gen 2. Yeah, Gen 21. Yeah, Gen 2, man. Get it straight. Yeah, the ThinkPad 13 is what it was. Gen 2 is the one I always wanted to get from a few years back. I just like the look of it, the size. Is that one? Yeah, here, we can show you that. One of those. I'm like, wow, I like the size of it. I like the feature set, the ones that I had through the shop here. And they could take, I think they had a M.2 slot for the SSD if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I was wrong. 1080 res. Not bad computer, but 7th gen is just, I don't want to say it's too old, but it's too old for what I'm doing with a mobile computer these days. No, not the X1 Carbon. The one you saw there. This is the ThinkPad 13. Alright, can we put this together in any type of reasonable sense? I think we're going to end up... Maybe we won't. We'll try. We'll try and reuse the adhesive, but if it don't work, we're not going to fight it. Tell you what, it's holding the tweezers together, no problem. Went off course. I don't know, 7th gen too old going forward for what they're doing with operating systems. It'd be nicer. Maybe they make one with 9th gen. That feels like a safe bet. We're going to see how good that sticks while we have it here. If it doesn't stick great, we'll put new down. Hey, I don't know if you were here, if anybody still here, was here, for the live stream when I built a new computer, but I upgraded my home computer that I did everything on. Editing, the stuff for the podcast, the morning buzz, every bit of computing horsepower that I was using was done on my i5 3570K desktop, and I upgraded from that 3rd gen on my desktop to a 12th gen CPU, motherboard, everything, and yeah, what a leap in performance. 3rd gen to 12th gen. I did have an overclock on it when I had a different board in, but then I put that one, my original Intel, or the Gigabyte stable models, just the B series, B75M D3H, I believe it was, put that back in and took the overclock off, which made the K series CPU useless at that point, but I still ran it till earlier this year from when it first came out. Good computer. Can't kick on 3rd gen. 2nd gen was a little hokey with the graphics support. Did they have any 2nd gen with hyperthreading in the Core i series? I don't remember. Too old, I forgot about that stuff long ago. So here we have a stretched out foot that we need to shrink little by little. I don't want to go clipping an end because then when it shrinks back into place, it's going to be short. Let's go throw it in the freezer. Use a little room down here. Expand that way. Perfect. Let's see how much we can heat this thing up. We got to see if it boots too. That's the other issue. Do boot, do work, do stuff. We got to go back into BIOS. Alright, we have a charge light. We have a power light, and we need BIOS, right? It's powered off, and it's coming back up now. Probably because of that bad CMOS checksum. Telling me it has power. Okay, reboot the device. Let's do it. Enter, reboot, F10 to get into our settings. We need to re-enable secure boot. Sadly, there's no good way to show this. Let's just go for it. Oh no, secure boot is enabled. Legacy support disabled. Perfect. Non-raid. Okay, we didn't change that. Let's get out of here. See if this thing is going to do what it do. And we're losing a foot, so we may need some adhesive on this one. And we're getting a spinny. Let's set that here. What can we run on this thing? Maybe Intel burn test. What an annoyance. That stupid adhesive. Not a chance it's going to stick, so we definitely need to, at least on the front. I can't speak for the back yet. We haven't gravity tested it near enough. We'll get to that though, that's no problem. Okay. We are at a login screen. Let's shouldn't be able to see that. Incorrect. Alright, let me look at this note I got. Oh, okay. Alright, I was missing some characters. Okay, let's shift and do that and that. We're gonna shift. What? Is this a touchscreen? Is that why it keeps... It is. Okay. We're being welcomed. Alright, I hate typing passwords, man. That aren't my own. I think that's what we'll do. We'll We'll take the Intel burn test for a spin, see if that can do anything. I have not had a need for my external drive for some time, so we're going to have to find that while we're at it. At least not just the one that's stored on. That's not it, that's the one that's out of a case. It's not that one. Is it over here? There it is. There it be. I'm always wary with running customer computers up on KVM. Alright. It popped right up. Let's enable it. And let's run. Alright, now it's laughing at me. That's severely off screen. Are you going to show up drive, or is this you just doing the translating with what you got going on internally? We do not have a USB-C port, so I can't use a C-to-C cable. Guarantee, bring it back, we're going to have to install the .NET. Is this the one that requires it? It has to be. So this is a right click and I'm just waiting on it. I'm going to say there's other stuff going on with this thing. 100%. The hard drive is the main concern. It did mount, it does boot. I don't recall what drive it was. I'd have to look back at it. Let me see if I can search back and see that drive. What brand was it? Stuff is not built. I will agree with you on the stuff is not built as well now and for longevity like it was with previous models of computers. They were built a lot tougher. I mean, at least I think consumer computer prices have come down a lot compared to, like, you would have to think back to the time when iBooks were a thing. Not MacBooks, iBooks. Like the G3, did they have a G3 iBook? The white plastic one? We may not need it for this, will we? Well, we definitely don't need you. Do you have a T42? Like a working? Or is it... Those are awesome computers. I'm not a huge Lenovo fan. I don't know their history. But I think the T42 was like touted as one of the best ThinkPads ever. I know when people brought them in, that was always the one they had. Like anybody that bought a ThinkPad and it came in for service, that was the model they had. That's the one that still had the little light at the top, like the reading light, right? I believe so. Alright, so as you can see on the screen, as is evidenced, our Intel burn test is running. I'm going to turn off my AC. It's still hot here in central nowhere. Let me disable the filter for cutting this noise, or cutting that AC noise, so we can actually hear what's going on. Actually disable it. Let's close that. Let's grab a mic. Be careful, try not to drop stuff. Oh, touch screen, you stupid fool. Don't do that. This is with the mic right up, dead on where the heat sink's blowing out. Or the fan is blowing through the fin stack, I guess. So here's some mic placement going across the back so you can kind of judge the decibels, not that it matters. Probably the loudest point going by my VU meter. Not... Yeah. That was probably the loudest point going by my VU meter. Not a loud fan by any means. Not with the thermal paste application. And cleaning out the fan and the fin stack. It's not quiet though. It's definitely not like an Apple quiet, but then they get loud when they get hot too, so don't be fooled. I would say it's an average. You hear fans in laptops, you just do. They're not desktop level performance. The owner can be the judge of that when she gets back to pick it up. We're going to let this burn test finish. One thing I may do, we're not going to do it on stream though, is just run through like a few things. Yeah. Able to maintain its stability while we did that extremely short burn test. Awesome. Is run a few cleanup utilities, just a few basic things. I don't know if we should commit this to a full Tron run or Sophos or anything like that. Nothing dictates it. She wasn't complaining about anything like that, but I do tend to run those for people when they have a computer come in, just to see if you can find any like surface junk. I would say the main problem was the impact. Prematurely aging the hard drive though. The impacts was smacking this thing. And if we think about it, well, depending where she was hitting it, because where is the hard drive on this? If we flip it and remember, and we got to fix that foot. Close. If we flip this and kind of remember, our fan was here, and we'd put our hard drive here. So she was at least hitting, if she was hitting it from the back portion, she was smacking this thing as far Back here's the fan hard drive there, hitting it as far as away, according to what she said, as she could from the hard drive. I mean, I guess over here would have been further, but fairly far away still doesn't mean good times for that hard drive. And sadly, this stuff is junk on that much of it, so away it goes. We gotta stick something new in there. What do I have that is this wide? I think what I have is wider, but we're gonna make it work. We can almost get two of them out of there. We're gonna have to trim this boy down. Let's disable that and get back to the main working environment. Sleep, my friend, sleep. KVM, get back my chat. There you are. Dad, I didn't even see you there. I'm here busy talking to Luke. Semi-working and displays GPU graphic errors, but since not a flip chip, a reball should solve this. Also, no, the T42 doesn't have a reading light. It's from the XP era. Didn't say, I thought they had reading lights back then. Did they not think of that early? T42 was popular, at least in this area. I'm going to say that much. I can confidently say I've seen quite a few of them. I think I even have some of their keyboards still here. I don't have any housings, though. They have been bought by people. And to what end, I don't know. Was a lower, mine probably was a lower trim spec. Yeah, I don't know. I remember seeing it. I can't verify the model, but I know T42, going over paperwork that I've personally written out numerous times, T42 was on the model number from whenever I still did that quite a few times. That's why I like the look of the ThinkPad 13. They looked a lot like those older models, more so than some of the other ones that they released. But never got one. Someday. I guess now's the time to get one, being that they're like $250. For a used one, 7th gen, plus who knows whatever they wanted to gouge you for shipping on that. go through it again and see if it all seems trimmed for the most part. Maybe that area wasn't. Who knows? Let's try and peel it off. Nah, it wasn't. It was just the plastic. That's alright. We'll peel the next layer off after we cut it. Now we got a foot that we gotta put in there. We're gonna leave the old adhesive on. Hopefully some spots of it will bind with that. I'm gonna make this thing cold for a couple minutes. Shouldn't cold. Warm will expand it, cold will contract it. I just want it a little colder than it is. Plus we can get a fresh drink while we're here. Is that a big can or a little can? I want a little. That's a little. We can check our epoxy, see if that tacked up and remove that paper. Edge, Lenovo. Was that a Lenovo or that was a Lenovo Edge, right? Not IBM. Same company I know, but they marked it with a Lenovo tag, right? Instead of the IBM ThinkPad moniker or whatever. A few minutes, was not even a minute probably. Was it enough, or is it still going to be super long? We got to trim that edge. That's a definite must. We'll do that when we get there. Try not to smack my head on that thing today, the camera. It hurts after a while, man. You can't keep the human head versus the Sony Alpha camera. Yeah, Sony wins. Let's try and get in there and trim that edge of the adhesive out. We did leave it a little long. The big question of the day, do we dare do that to the back one or do we let it go? Too hot. It is hot, man. I turned off my AC here so we could hear this stupid fan. That one's fairly stuck down. I'm going to say that adhesive came up easier in some spots, probably due to the heat generated back here and not so much the front. I don't know. Investigate it. Let me know. I want some CSI level results on this one. We'll let the owner decide if it's too loud or not. Like I said, when she gets back here, we're going to shut it down for now. Clean the screen and be done with it. Oh, check that. Epoxy quick too. And that is a touch screen. That's what I always wanted. A dog brush. The bolter hinges of the palm rest. I just prefer removing the palm rest like most of them. Yeah. Design has gotten way better in recent years. Definitely. As far as failure rate and they're not great, but as far as how they're built in the bottom coming off, some of the HP, not the convertible, the kind that you can turn into a tent or flip the keyboard down, but like the X360s, 13 inches, some of the 15s, the way they were built, the normal laptop kind, not the 2-in-1 that are convertible, but the normal ones, I like the way those come apart. I think they're still hinge bolt to palm rest, but you undo the bottom and it comes off. So we have picked up a little bit of hair. Let's grab some new tape. Just trying to grab any of that remaining hair that's poking out if we can. Where'd the tape go? He lost it. And I think we'll honestly be done with this one. The owner, hopefully she says, yeah, that's not near as loud. That just sounds like it used to. That would be great. And I don't have to play with anything further. But yet to be seen. Still getting not much, a little bit of hair. There we have it. Paperwork can be done later on this guy, girl, computer. Abused, smacked laptop. Don't get loud, it will crack you again. HP, you hear me? Talking back. We'll hit you harder this time. Fucking hey, what a way to quiet down a fan, man. Shit. Alright. Outgoing. Let's check it. Let's see. Do we screw ourselves? Do we actually have... Alright, battery mechanism still works. Let's check the tacky level. Fairly tacky. I think it's still going to stretch, but we got to cut it out of there some way, somehow, at some point. Let's attempt. At least it's epoxy we can cut through. I'm not saying it's great or the best plan ever, but we did keep it from our battery grabber. It did run in under a little, not terribly bad, and it's not set to the point where it's completely ruined. We should be able to scrape some of it back out of there. Let's see. It will come into contact at some point, so we need to get the little bit that was under the paper out of the way, but the paper saved our day. We really don't want to put this back together yet. We got to clean out that screw hole as well while it's still tacky. We'll run a screw or so down in there to pull some of that out. Hopefully not break this loose. Such a close tolerance there, and we kept it away. I'm happy about that. All for one stupid ass screw hole. Unreal. Let's cut that so we can make way for that chip. Yeah, I think this is 5 minutes set, 1 hour cure, and 24-hour full cure on this crap. Something like that. It's just like a real tacky plastic at the present time. We'll leave that there. Time to clean it out. We need a screw or two. Hopefully we don't break the screw hole loose doing this. We should let it cure and then force one through it, but we'll try. We'll push our luck now. Yeah, it wants to move. So we don't break it loose, we're going to grab it with something. Still trying to turn, but we got it wound down in. Let's do one more and call that good for today. Go home. Yeah, that's gonna need to set overnight for sure to fully cure. We got the threads cleaned out. Now, can we get the channel locks off of there without ripping it loose? That's the bigger question. All right, perfect. I'm gonna leave the spring off the battery catch. That way we can check. I can check tolerance tomorrow when I come back in. That's fully cured. If I need to chip any more little remnants of that out of there, I don't see any that we need to actually remove. Maybe that, but I think it will make it. Fucking dodgy repair on this shit. Now let's take a look at it while we're here. So there's the screw hole. Can we get a focus point? Yes, we can indeed. So that's our battery catch. We may need to remove a little. We'll do it when it's fully cured. The spring will pull it back, and it shouldn't hurt anything. But for now, like I said, we're going to keep it back and let all that fully cure till morning. And yeah, that's the repair on that. You saw the DC jack with the piece of foam and the toffee tape. I'm going to put another piece of toffee tape on top of the DC jack, touching the foam to this area here is where that will, I believe, is it that one or this one? Let's look. Let's look. I don't want to give out false information on this. What is this thing, a Dell? I'm pretty sure it was a Dell. Yeah, okay, DC jack on same side as the screw hole that broke loose. DC jack right there, so it will be in this area where that's thing's setting in there. So we have our network port, then our DC jack, and stretch release tape is going to go there to help hold that from going back any. We may be able to slot in an additional piece of foam, and that will make the power connection. I think we can even make that connection now just to test it while it's not put together to see what this thing does with it not even fully together. So before it was broken loose. I don't want to re-break it, but it needs to be, when it's sandwiched down, it should go right in. Yeah, I think we'll add a piece of foam and then sandwich it with more toppy tape and keep it in place. That way it will at least come apart. I don't want to do the hot glue and have to heat plastic, the melt hot glue method that you can do. I don't like that one, and just solid epoxy in that thing in there did not seem like the smart thing to do. That way if anybody does need to take it apart, say they get the right idea, hey, we're going to use this. Let's add another stick of RAM. Well, whoever they have a service that can pull it apart, because it's not stuck together with some heavy duty epoxy. It'll come apart. That stretch release tape, as soon as you start pulling it's going to pop, and yeah, be good to go. That's tomorrow, and we'll get this and get it back to them. I don't even know what we're going to charge, just a few dollars for the amount of work we did. There's really no reasonable way to charge for something like this at all. You can't do an hourly rate with time you have in, because you know what, how do you count the time? Time touched, time sitting, it all factors in. So yeah, there's a few dollar job. Originally I said it could possibly be a DC jack, but I wasn't sure until I got to look in it. I knew they had different ways of keeping these in place in these. This is the worst possible way. No walls around it, no bracing, nothing other than it was pressure fit against this and that screw hole on that little tab. That was like just a little bit of pressure fit against there, and on that screw hole, that was the only support it had. Bad idea, Dell. Bad idea. Sorry. Yeah. Let me see what these people. You going to bed? Yeah. Thank you, Fernando. Not really. I don't like epoxying and using foam and tape to fix stuff, but it is what it is. Sometimes you have to do weird shit to get it done. We went ultra dodgy on this one and semi-legit on the other one. Yeah, you people that gotta go to bed, I'm getting out of here. As soon as I find those tweezers I threw on the floor. Thank you for hanging out, joining me, stopping by. It's much appreciated. And this man with the impressive background in computers, Luke. How long have you been messing with computers, sir? If I can ask that, if that's not too intrusive. I've been playing with them since 1983, and that's like playing inquisitive. How do they work? Tearing crap apart, and then actually working on them since early 90s. So however many years that is, and my math ain't with it right now. Let's say like 90, 91 till now. With just, you know, basic maintenance software, all the other crap that goes with that. Miss a scroll point. I was like, out of my way to replace the hinge in question. Alright, I think we'll end it there, people. I don't know who else here. Fernando, Luke, that's all I see in chat. I'm winding it up. Chris. believe. Let me see. I gotta look over here to actually find out. Anyhow, have a good one, people. I'm getting out of here. Time to go home. We'll check back and see this stuff later, or watch the chat back once it's available, because I'm pretty sure I missed a bunch of stuff. But to anybody that was here and made it, thank you. Anybody watching after, thank you. Much appreciated. I will see you soon, people. As always, super blended this way. Much love for hanging out while we cobbled together that thing, and wherever I set that thing over there, clicking a link, hanging out, sharing, interacting. It's great. The rising tide seems to float all boats, and that's what's so positive about this community, the support in it. All right, I think we'll end it there. Absolute maniacs typing in the chat right at the end. Have a good evening, Chris. Good morning, whatever time it is for you. We'll see you, bud. We will see you.